The story of Hunky Dory begins with a demo for a song called To Be Loved. Although demos were already underway for Hunky Dory by this point, To Be Loved was recorded in a session for demos to get an American contract. He tried a whole bunch of experimental things, playing instruments he had never played before and developing his own drum style. The engineer of this track, Ron Destruel, quoted Bowie as saying that it was like bringing the simple melodies and simple chords of Billie Holiday into the 70s. Now, I don't really see the Billie Holiday connection, but that doesn't mean it's not a good song. It's a very nice, easy listening, non-threatening, simple song. Bowie continues his use of vocal effects here, giving the song a very nice psychedelic quality, sounding very much like a Velvet Underground song, which is definitely the vibe he goes for on this album. Contemporaneous listeners of Bowie didn't get a chance to listen to this demo when it was recorded. It didn't come out until March of 2016, being the first posthumous release of his career. Now, like I said in the previous video, this is his first glam rock album. Some might dispute that. Wikipedia, for instance, lists it as an art rock or art pop album. And maybe it is. But the sounds and the lyrics fit so well with the majority of his output that would define his career for the 1970s and arguably the rest of his career as well. Gone is the early heavy metal sound of the man who sold the world. With a new band, the members of whom would become his Spiders from Mars, they set to work on Hunky Dory, approaching the music radically different this time around, reinventing himself. Which brings us to... How do you make an album opener this good? It doesn't even seem possible. I don't remember how I felt the first time I heard this song. Mostly because the first time I heard this song was in Shrek 2. But I have to imagine when it came out, it must have blown people's minds. I mean, not too many though, because it actually didn't chart very high. Bowie covers a lot of ground in this one song. First and foremost, this is a song about artistic reinvention. As is clear 4 albums in, Bowie does not like to stay in one place too long, whether it be in style or fashion or music. Bowie himself would even quip, "I guess it was me being sort of arrogant. It's sort of baiting an audience, isn't it? It's saying, look, I'm going to be so fast you're not going to be able to keep up with me." It's that kind of perky arrogance of youth. You think you can get away with anything when you're young. Secondly, this is a song about feeling like an outcast with strange fascinations, and Bowie expresses a little bit of his imposter syndrome that he felt around this time. In the liner notes, he's even regarded as an actor. He reaches out to youth who feel disaffected in lyrics that so perfectly capture that mood they were used as a super at the beginning of The Breakfast Club. Third, this is a song about generational differences. It's sort of an evolution on The Who's My Generation. While both songs are filled with lyrics that denounce the older generations for how they failed the younger ones, and a stutter in the chorus, Bowie faces it with a sense of optimism, looking forward to getting older, getting wiser, and not being afraid of the changes that he'll go through. It's a song that I feel holds up as well today as it did back then. The millennial generation and Generation Z are so screwed over by the generations that came before us that we feel like we're up to our necks in it. We've been vying for political change for so long and feel betrayed by those who promised it would happen and then did nothing. At this point, the song is almost more of a mission statement than a song.
Oh, you pretty things. Don't you know we're driving your mom and
continuing his interest in Crowley and Nietzsche, Oh You Pretty Things is a song about the obsolescence of humanity and is also a sci-fi inspired track about making way for an advanced race of alien beings. It's pretty easy to miss just how nihilistic this song actually is because it just sounds so damn cheery with the very playful piano and guitar. He almost sounds happy to make way for Homo Superior. It opens up with the domestic home life being interrupted by a crack in the sky as aliens come down to start making way for a new race of people. Of course, in Bowie fashion, the new race of people is the next generation of children, echoing There Is a Happy Land and After All. We come down from 2 really great tracks to the underwhelming 8-line poem. It's a sad country song with sad country lyrics that evoke the images of a desert in a barren apartment.
Is there life on Mars?
Life on Mars is one of Bowie's greatest masterpieces, and almost wouldn't have happened if not for an incredibly bizarre set of circumstances.
I was with a music publishing company, and they were passing me songs, lots of them from the, I was going to say from the Orient. Some of them sounded like they came from the Orient. A lot of songs from Europe that they wanted me to do kind of English translations, not translations, but a new set of English lyrics for, you know. One of them was this French song that I thought was really very good, and I wrote some really terrible lyric. I think it's called Even a Fool Learns to Love. And I send it back again. I thought, oh, that's the last area of that. Then I hear it on the radio. I thought, that's that tune, that must be my song. I thought, no, these are different lyrics. And it was Sinatra singing My Way. And I was, I wrote the lyrics, what happened? I phoned them up and said, oh yeah, your lyrics were rubbish. And I said, I know that, but they're the ones I did. And they said, yeah, well, we got Paul Anka to do them instead, and this is My Way. And that really made me angry for so long, about a year. And eventually I thought, well, I can write something as big as that, and I'll write one that sounds a bit like it. And so I did Life on Mars.
In a life filled with family drama, loneliness, toxic masculinity, and corrupt police, she goes to the cinema for a little bit of escapism, but finds that even that doesn't work. So she asks the question, is there life on Mars? It's a deeply poetic song with one of the best compositions of Bowie's entire career. A music video for it was filmed during the Ziggy Stardust era, capturing one of Bowie's most iconic looks. The song Kooks was written about Zoe Bowie, his newborn son, or as you may know him, filmmaker Duncan Jones. The song is about if he stays with his parents as he grows up, he will be just as weird as them. This turned out to be true, as he made some great films like Moon and Source Code, and he also directed Warcraft, making him the first director to make a major blockbuster film in which gigantic CGI orcs are half the focus and are humanized in a way that made them the most interesting part of the film.
I'm sinking in the quicksand of my thoughts.
On Quicksand, he continues the philosophical themes of Nietzsche and Crowley from his last album, except this time he definitely has a better grasp of it. He explores the unknown, trying to seek ultimate knowledge, pondering the troubling nuances of life, and wanting to reach his potential, all of it leading to some pretty despairing thoughts, contemplating suicide. This song is powerfully epic in its scope and its composition. And it leads us right into the next song.
Fill your heart.
While the last song grappled with the unknown, this song tells you to embrace the unknown, filling your heart with love instead. Now, I don't think this song is as good as Quicksand, but it does turn around that nasty moral at the end, the last one. He also uses a bit of a goofy voice on this one, set to a very jazzy piano. The themes explored in these two songs, though, I feel were already summarized in the opening. But that's really what I like about this album. Changes sets you up for this whole exploration of themes that he only touches upon in that opener.
Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall.
Fun fact about this song, when Bowie played it for Andy Warhol, Warhol thought it was insulting and left before it was over. In reality, though, this song was Bowie's praise for Warhol, a person he would eventually play in the film Basquiat, which we'll get to at some point. You would probably expect this, of all songs, to sound the most like the Velvet Underground. But really the only Velvet Underground part comes at the end with the discordant guitars. The chorus, though, is so damn catchy. It'll be in your head for weeks when it's over. The next song was also inspired by one of Bowie's idols, with Song for Bob Dylan. For some context, after Dylan had a motorcycle crash, he disappeared from the public for a while. This is Bowie asking Dylan to come back and lead the youth again with his explorations of social injustice. The chorus also deals with the death of the famous model and Dylan's former lover, Edie Sedgwick. Now, before I did the research for this video, I wasn't familiar with any of this. Bob Dylan is a big blind spot for me in my musical knowledge. I've listened to all of his albums from the 60s, but I didn't really know anything about his personal life, so for me, just listening to the song, I still really enjoy it. It sounds like the Bob Dylan song that I'm most familiar with, which is The Man in Me. Queen Bitch is about observing a drag queen as she hooks up with men, flaunts her sexuality, and scores drugs, all the while thinking he could do better than her. This is the most Velvet Underground song on the album. It provides the album with its best rocker. That guitar riff just slices. I don't even know what that means. It's just provocative. It gets the people going.
The Bewley Brothers, with our backs on the ice.
The album closes with the Bewley Brothers, another song about David Bowie's brother Terry and his dealing with schizophrenia. The lyrics are hard to decipher, intentionally so, as Bowie describes Terry growing up with his mental illness and how it affected how other people viewed them. It's a wonderful, moody piece and provides an underlying darkness in contrast to its optimistic opener. Now, there were also some bonus tracks on this album that I'll be talking about. First one up is Bombers. This is a song about waking up to a world that's been just completely devastated by mutually assured destruction caused by the Cold War. I love this song, and I'm not sure why it wasn't on the original album. Maybe there wasn't enough space, maybe they didn't feel it fit the theme. It's certainly a better song than 8-line Poem, and I wish it had been on there instead. There's also an alternate version of the Superman here, this one in the style of this album. I actually feel this is stronger than the heavy metal version of the song. The phrase Hunky Dory means everything is alright. Listening to this album, I can surmise that was meant sarcastically and truthfully. Truthfully, as then, everything is alright from the perspective of David Bowie. Sarcastic in that nothing would be alright from the people who didn't like Bowie or his ilk. The album is about finding optimism in a world full of despair, being an outcast, but finding your place among other outcasts, giving a voice to people whose voices have been pushed out, finding inspiration and expression through creators like Andy Warhol and Bob Dylan, seeing that the world will go on with new ideas and new life, turning to face the strange. Next week, we'll be talking about Bowie's magnum opus, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Hey everybody, thank you again for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Also, don't forget to ring the bell icon so you get notified when I make these videos. There's at least 40 videos I have planned for this series, more may be on the way, and I'm still planning some videos to come in the near future. So that's all for now. See you next week. I'm going to be exhausted, I'm sure.